trying to bend in that away direction, so the counterclockwise direction. She tends to be pretty good on the come by side, which is the clockwise side. And you can see she's already angling herself to go come by, even though, so I could push my sheep, good girl. If I push my sheep that way, she should cover them, and she did, which is great. So that shows you that she's got some good instincts. So I'm just trying to get her to bend and want to go on this direction without backing out like she has been a couple times. Good girl. So you can see she's pretty willing to go on that come by side, and even if she's a little bit unsure about the fence pressure, she speeds up to make her way through instead of going on this away side. She tends to back out and avoid it and like try to go the come by direction like that. So see how she loops around the wrong direction instead of just committing. So that just means that come by is probably her more comfortable direction. So I just try to block her. I do give her a negative, like a verbal, like a or a no, to let her know that that's the wrong choice. Good girl. And then I try to keep her going in this direction a couple of times to try to get that pattern down. So this is one reason why I don't normally name directions early on, because if they're not proficient at the direction, there's not really a point in naming it. Just like if your dog doesn't know how to put its butt down when you say sit, there's no point in naming a sit. So I'm not really hot to name the direction super early. I do start using them on my client dogs when I know for a fact that it's going to happen, because people who send their dogs for training want to know that their dog is learning verbals. But as far as, I think it's more the body language and what the livestock are telling the dog to do is what the dog is going off of, not necessarily the words that come out of my mouth. So actually in this situation, these guys are pretty much perfectly balanced to me. So where she's at, where she's at right now is a good spot. And if I come out this way, she should have plenty of room to come into this corner. Good girl. And she turned the correct way. She gave good space, and so I just wanted to kind of encourage her forward, so that we didn't get that back out or that turn the wrong direction. Good girl. So stuff like this is just really a lot of repetition and a lot of positive experience with doing the thing that the dog thinks is hard. So you just kind of have to put them in that situation quite a bit and ask them to do the thing that's hard for them. Good girl. Not one time on this come by direction has she really ever turned and gone the opposite direction. So I really do think that that's just her preferred way. Good girl. I just really want to get her proficient at this away side before I change anything up and start naming it. Like I said, I do name it. I go ahead and say it on like a straightaway where I know for a fact she's got plenty of space to take direction and she's not worried about. A lot of this is set up because of the fencing. So her having to go between the livestock and the fence is what's causing her to pop out. She's a little bit uncomfortable with the pressure of the stock and the fence. And so when she says, okay, it's really hard for me to go the away direction and it's really hard for me to go in between the livestock and the fence, I'm going to back out and not do that. So that's all that is. Good. Good girl. And I like using the two fences, the corner, because she has plenty of space over on this side. So she's got 6 feet or so, maybe even more on this side. And then I'm going to to have to send her to bring them back to me. Good girl, come on. So see how she's going to hesitate just a little bit because of that fence pressure? So there she did back out going on the come-by side just because everything was so jammed up on the fence. So that's, again, just stuff that you have to work with. They have to be exposed to that fence pressure, exposed to the livestock pressure, and they just have to work through it. Good. Good job. Then I can hurry her through. Hurry her through a little bit if she's doing a really great job. Just put a little additional pressure on her to let her know she can go a little faster and it's okay. She's doing a really good job. So there you go. Why I don't say that early on. I said come by. She dodged out. So then my come by meant go so far and then dodge out. That's why, again, I don't usually name everything super early. She's going off of this body language, this flag. So if I move to this side, she should balance off and move to the other side. And that depends on what the livestock do. So the livestock are coming with me. If they come with me, if they don't come with me, she has to move to make that happen. And if she does not move on her own, that's when I step in. That's when I step in and put pressure on her, and that's why it's so important that our dogs move off of pressure, because when she moves the wrong way and I put pressure on her, she ignored the stock, she didn't bring the stock to me, and then they would have been able to get away. So I know these are training stock, but you always have to think about it as if these are wild sheep or wild cattle and they're not going to stay where you put them. The dog has to